And we're live. All right. Push all the buttons, open all the windows. Give the stream a minute to warm up here. Oh, hot tea. All right, today I think what we're going to do is we're going to attempt, this one's going to be a bit of a community request. I got a message just in the last few days here. Just pulling up the message right now. It's about dealing with QR codes. So I thought, you know what, let's do that. Let's tinker with some QR codes. Roslam, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm just reading back through the message here to see what the use case was. I think the question was around how to connect a QR code. So I think that the scenario is the QR code is generated from it's like placed on a restaurant table or something like that. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go through and see if we can find something that'll generate a QR code for us. I don't know if the QR code needs to be unique every single time. Maybe we can look at that. In one scenario, we can say, all right, we need I guess a QR code is something you want someone to scan more than once, right? So how do you register that? Let me see if I can message them and see what the exact use case would be here. I'm just going back through my messages. How to connect a QR code to the previous scenario, because the customer code is already created and attached. Let's just assume for a second that the QR code that's being generated is for like a ticket of some kind. And so it's tied to a particular person. How can we do this? Let me just pop open and see if I have I'm pretty sure they're using there's this sort of all-in-one CRM system out there called HighLevel. I'm sure lots of people have heard of that. I'll just pick an account that we can play with here. Maybe the Eclipse Lounge, because that's just a mock account. And so I think one of the things that we would need to do, let me think about this. Just pop that in there. Is there a way in HighLevel generate QR code? Because we won't be able to, without a plugin. If you know of a way to do this, let me know. If there's a way to do this directly within, because there's a QR code system in here, right? I've still only been using this, I've used it a bit, but I still have lots to learn about HighLevel. There's so many buttons in here and different things. So let's see, there's coupons. Let me just make that a little smaller for just a second, because I think QR codes is in here under, is it marketing? No. Let's just see that article for a second. Create a QR code, which I'm pretty sure is already done. Yeah, that makes sense. How to set up digital QR code for maximizing. So they're talking about reviews here. Oh, it's under, is it under reputation specifically? That's interesting. Oh, it's under websites. Perfect. Thank you. Sites. Oh, yeah, it's way over there. It's because the screen is so small. All right. So then my question is this something that you can do in the automation system? Let's just jump in there for a second. Create a new workflow. I apologize. That's really tiny. I'm only doing this because I just want to see if there's an action in here. QR code. Not yet. Generate. Nope. Okay, that's fine. All right, so here's the workflow. Let's just pull open Whimsical. We're going to sort of, this is like a community request this week. I don't think the user's on the live just yet. I'll send a message here shortly. And so this is I'm assuming this is our QR code workflow here. So how this is going to look like is we basically create a QR code. And then from there, we're going to obviously send it to the user. And then there's a code. So what? Actually, let me back up. It's going to attach a unique code, I think, because this is like a coupon code, I think is a scenario. So attach a unique code to the customer. Is that how QR codes work in this platform? I've never actually used them. So go back under Sites, look at QR code, create a QR code, and then it has a unique name. Choose the type: website, review link, call, SMS, or email. I think we want to use website because what I want to do is, the idea behind this QR code is it's going to come back and link to a scenario. Actually, let's just grab that webhook handler right now. That's in our, I'm going to grab that address just in case we need it. So that's fine. We'll link to a site, additional information. That's going to be the website URL. But what I was kind of hoping, because it's a URL, we can just put a random code in there. It's really unfortunate that they don't have a way to automate creating the code. Let me just see if this is on their list here. QR code in automation. Link to website. It looks like it's probably not. Let's go look at their API for a second. GoHighLevel API. If it's in the API, we could pull it off in a workflow. We would need to overview. Let's see. QR quick. No. Yeah, maybe they don't have it yet. That's fine. All right. Well, let's handle the second half of this. The generating part, generating the QR code, I'm going to have to think about a little bit more because there's a little bit of work there. So the scenario was, I think, so here actually it would start with like creating a coupon code for a customer. It would be like a unique code. So we'll say like A1, B2, C3. Like this is the code here. And then from there, we would attach that. Then we would generate the QR code from there and then send that to the customer, right? Which is really straightforward. And then assuming that they scan the code, when they scan the code, that goes to hits our make.com scenario. So I'll bring this up here. Trigger our make.com scenario. That's going to check if the code is valid in the system somehow, like if it's been used or not, which will probably require a couple of custom fields. You can use, so Solo says you can use Jotform to generate a unique QR code. Let's go check that out. That's handy. I've never used Jotform. I have a couple clients who use Jotform. I've only sort of poked at it. Can you do it programmatically, though? That's the thing I need to know. Right? Let's see. Forms, templates, products. Let's just Google this. Create form, all forms folder. What we need to be able to do is to generate this dynamically. And then they want the QR code for a form specifically. I wonder if we can just go free QR code generator API. It's got to have an API. That's the requirement here. We need to be able to do this dynamically. I don't want it tied to, so I'm not using Jotforms. I'm using the HighLevel. So our scenario sort of looks like this. This was something that was requested by somebody who reached out to me the other day. So this is our scenario. So we want to dynamically generate a coupon code, like some specific code for a customer. It's going to be tied to a URL. That code is going to be, we'll generate the QR code and we'll send it out. And then when they scan the code, we're going to trigger and see, trigger that in our scenario. Then we'll check if the code is valid in our CRM. And then this is sort of going to be, this one actually can change shape. This will be a yes, no, whoops, not triangle. I want diamond. It's a decision, yes or no. So is the code valid? Yes. We'll say that this is our no option over here. No. And then from here, we'll just show them like a web page, redirect to already used web page. And if it's a yes, this one's going to be a square. And then we'll just redirect somewhere else. We'll show them something else, some other page. Show them success page, I guess. That's sort of the scenario we're looking at here. We're not using a programming language. We're using all no-code tools. So we're starting with, I was going to try and integrate this with the HighLevel CRM because it has QR code generation built in. I think I definitely want to use this for like as a CRM, but it could be any other CRM, right? But something practical. If you were using HubSpot or something like any other CRM, I'm assuming you could do the same thing if, so long as they have an API or something like that. But our use case is that we want to generate like a coupon code of some kind. It doesn't look like there's the ability to generate QR codes in HighLevel programmatically just yet, which would be kind of nice. But we don't have that. We don't have that option just yet. So what we'll do is we'll just see how far we can get, just sort of with what we have right now. All right, let's see here. All right, just got to plug my phone in and charge it. Bear with me. Okay. So let me just see if we can find a free QR code generator. No limits, bulk generate via web, and I'm assuming they're going to say, do they have an API for this? Dynamic QR codes, bulk generate. I kind of want to see an API. If you're aware of something, there we are, API docs. That's what I'm looking for right there. Kai says, interesting, what platform is this? I wrote services to dynamically generate QR codes in Golang. Again, we could do this programmatically, but I'm mostly focused on no-code and low-code tools, automation tools. So we're going to use make.com as the handler. Maybe I'll color these a little bit. So our CRM, we're going to generate a code for our customer, and then I should add one node in here because we're actually going to get rid of that. Store it in our CRM. The CRM we're using is HighLevel today, but it could be anything. It doesn't have to be HighLevel. It could be anything really. And then the coupon code we're going to store in the HighLevel CRM. Then we're going to trigger a job to generate a QR code, which can be some third-party system. So again, this is going to be, we'll just choose maybe this blue color for, this is in our CRM here. Third-party system, we're going to send to the customer when they scan the code. That's all external. And then it's going to trigger a scenario in make.com. We'll use purple for that. So this is all going to happen in make.com over here. I can't color those in bulk. Hey, that's kind of annoying. That's fine. I guess we'll just click on them one at a time. Sometimes this is what we have to do. All right. All right. Solo saying, come back to Jotform. I don't want to, if we generate the QR code, is it just going to link to Jotform? Do we have the option to generate that QR code to point somewhere else? That's kind of what I need, is the ability to dynamically generate a QR code that just kind of points where I want. So API key auth, list QRs, get QRs, update, duplicate, bulk edit, generate QR image with a post request. Let's just have a look real quick. QRFY, QRFi. That's about as sass as you get. Let's see if they have a module for make.com. QRFi. I'm going to say no. That's fine. So what we'll do is we'll just check the pricing again and see what their limits are in terms of being able to generate QR codes on the fly here. What are our limits? Plans and prices. Oh, I see. Try for 7 days before subscribing. It's wild to me that I guess there's value there. $30 a month to generate a QR code. In theory, we could build this out ourselves. I mean, I could write a QR code generator pretty quickly. That's not really what I had planned today. We could always come back to that. Let me just have another look. I read somewhere in here it said free. Free QR code, no limits. Like, but then all of a sudden they're like, yeah. Oh, but if we want to use the API, we're going to have to pay for it. That makes sense. There's a 7-day trial, but they'll probably want my credit card. I'm a little bit cheap sometimes that way. I'm like, if I could find, if I could find a service, I use so many free services, it's not even funny. Actually, it's one of the reasons I like serverless. Like, I'm more bought into the Amazon Web Services side of things for my development stuff. And because you could do so much for like ridiculously cheap. So I have a few side projects where, you know, they cost me $1 a month because that's what the domain costs, the zone in Route 53. But everything else is, you know, like pennies, basically. Loot says, I'd say 75% of the time there's a module for my automations. There's probably one in there. You know, let's have a look. What is there for QR codes? There has to be something. QR code. Generates a QR code. Again, if it's a free service, that's the thing. Free for today, or at least it'll get us going. Like if they just limit us to like 50 codes or something like that, I would be totally fine with that. If we don't get anywhere with this, with the actual QR code generation, we might just skip that part and come back to it. I'm just going to look this up. 1001FX. No code functions. Let's have a look at this. The missing library. That's cool. Pricing. 100 credits per month free. Now we're talking. This is my kind of service. Which sometimes works. Sometimes I'll burn through 100 credits in like 5 minutes. So let's set up an account here. Let's get logged in here. Oh, is this one on the, that's the other thing. Oh yes, you know, we have a scenario right there. So I create a connection. They're going to ask for an API key. Okay. Let me get signed up. Oh, they don't have, I'll just, I know you can't see it. I'm just going to get signed up off to the side here. And then we'll, get going. I just need to create. I got home in a rush for my live stream to try and get this going. I should have had some of this set up ahead of time. That's okay. We'll just fake it till you make it kind of thing, right? All right, save that. And set up my account here, get logged in. Oh, I need we want to create an account. Let's start with that. Register, that's what we want. I'm always a big fan of when they just have that nice one-click login with your Google account. I'm like, yes, please. That's exactly what I want. They're asking me a bunch of questions. What are you interested in? We'll say JSON. That's what we're interested in. Funding says, I replaced Make with cursor programming and saved money, and it was faster too. That's definitely a good use case. Especially if you are I use make.com for prototyping, like basically if I need to get something up and running quickly, or I need it to be accessible, or if I need it to be just sort of get up and running quickly, or keep it accessible, something that's just going to run once a day, or like if I don't need to host it. That's the reason I'm using third-party stuff usually, is it just means I don't have to host the tooling. It's just something I'm going to run. If I'm just going to run it locally on my own laptop, that's fine. But if it's something that I'm building out for a client, not having to deal with the infrastructure is really nice. If I can just spin something up really quick on, say, make.com and not have to worry about it. That being said, if it's going to run a lot, like we talked about this on the last live, where I was doing some inventory processing for a dealership, and in that particular case, I would run out of credits super fast, and just because of the number of operations I was doing with a bit of inventory. Master Bay says, I have TTTs like $30 and not as flexible. I've looked at that, but I haven't played with it. Hey, Bandit Animation. Awesome. Glad you're here. We're just tinkering with, all right, I have my API key. I'm going to set it up over here. No peeking. No peeking. Can't have my API key. That's done. See if that works. Okay, we're set. Tied in to this. It looks like we can generate a QR code now. So what I'm going to do, let's see. I had this set up as QR code handler, but we're going to call it QR code generator. And then what do we want this to do? So we need to generate a QR code. I think we're going to start. I think the way that we should do this is maybe when we generate this QR code for our customer up here, this part, what we'll do is store it maybe in a custom field and then have that kick off the process. So this is how I would do this. I'm using a platform called HighLevel. I'm going to create a customer in here. Contacts. Let me bump that up a little bit. I know it's super tiny. We'll just pretend. Let's create a new customer. We're gonna. This customer is going to be. Just trying to think of somebody famous, just to keep it. We'll say John Travolta. There. How about that? So John, if you're on the live, sorry. And the email, because we all know John Travolta would have johntravolta@gmail.com. But I'll just say, I'll do it this way. Plus John Travolta so it goes to me. If any emails go out, they'll come to me. I'll be able to see what they look like. All right, so that's email. All of that's fine. Save. What I'm going to do is, I think like most systems. Now, if you've never worked with the HighLevel system, we're not going to get like really deep into this today, but one of the things I want to do is, I think most CRMs sort of give you the ability to add custom fields. So what I'm going to do is go into the settings in here, and I'm going to add 2 custom fields. I think we'll do 2. I don't know the exact use case that this user was asking about, so I don't 100% know which direction to go with this, but we'll just wire the pieces together in the hopes that that's helpful. So I'm going to click on custom fields here. I'm going to get into this system, and so again, like I'm assuming that most CRMs will kind of let you do some custom fields, add custom information onto contacts. Hopefully that's not too hard to see. Just adjusting the size. I'm going to add a custom field here, and we're going to do a single line custom field. One is going to be called, this one we're going to call it coupon code. It's going to be on the contact. We'll just say under the additional info, And then we'll just save that. And then what we'll do, how do I do this? Yeah, I think that's how we're going to have to do this. We need a way to tie the coupon code back to the user, but I think we can do that through the QR code. Let me think. I think I'll just add the one field, coupon code. We'll test that out, see how far we get with that. Nick says, I'm in the process of creating a search dashboard separate from HighLevel that allows editing contacts. That's cool. I've done a bit of stuff with their API. I find the API is lagging on some of the features. In some ways, it's pretty robust. You can do quite a bit with it, and you can access. There's a new coding or scripting module in the workflows now. So I'm pretty sure you can access the API that way. So if there are bits in the automation side that aren't available as a natural sort of action, I think you could probably do it with script. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to set up a new workflow. So one of the cool things about HighLevel, it has a workflow system built right in where we can set up a workflow here. I'm going to rename this workflow. We're going to call it coupon code added to contact. Generate QR code. Try to make my workflows fairly descriptive so I know what the heck they do. And so the trigger here is going to be that a contact is changed. And let me see, custom field coupon code has changed. That's it. So we've got a filter. Bump that up a little bit. So the trigger for this workflow within the HighLevel system is going to be that a coupon code is added to the user. I'm going to rename this to exactly that, coupon code added to contact. And then we'll save that trigger. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to trigger our first make.com scenario directly from the platform. I think this would be the way I would do this. We'll grab that webhook URL, copy address to clipboard, and in here what we can do is we can call a custom webhook. We don't need the custom one. We don't need to post data. I think we can just get away with this. Just a GET request, paste the URL in, but we need to add some query string parameters. One is going to be the coupon code. We need that. And the cool thing about the automation system within a CRM like this is that if I click on this little tag, it's going to let me grab values off of the contact. So if we go all the way down here to custom fields, I can grab that coupon code now. So the coupon code that is changed, the coupon code that I've attached to the user is going to get attached to this URL when it goes out. I'm going to add one more thing because the other thing I need to do there's a couple of different ways we could do this. If I walk back over to my workflow here, we store the coupon code in the CRM. We kind of glazed over this step right here, generate QR code. This is turning into a make.com scenario. So let's actually just bring this over and explore that a tiny bit. So we're going to say, we'll just unlink this. So we need to decide if we go, so this is going to trigger QR code scenario through that webhook. This is going to be in make.com. So we'll just try and keep this organized. And then what we need to do is we need to get it to the customer, right? So I need to decide, do I store the QR code or something? I could send the email out from the CRM, but I could also send the email out from make.com. So I would need to decide which way I want to do that. So in one scenario, I could say, well, I could say email is going to be contact email. That might be one way to do this. So when this runs, the email would come into our scenario. I think that'd be easier to do, probably. It'll come in here, we'll generate the QR code, and then we could just, through the mail action, we could just send it. Oh, I think it's going to be email. Send an email. That might be the right way to do this. I'm always a little bit wary about passing customer information from system to system. An email is not so bad because it's only an email, and it's generally accepted that if you have an email, people are going to kind of know what it is. So that's probably fine. That's the extent of the user information I would be willing to share with a third-party system, though. And in this case, the thing that makes me hesitant is I might want to also, like in the email, I'm going to want to include their name and whatnot. So let me think about this. We could, in theory, push the QR code back into HighLevel and send an email out from there, and then the CRM itself actually has all of the user information. So that might be that'd be a safer way, in my mind. It'd be, and this is just sort of the pragmatic side of me, like the software engineer side, being like, I could just, it'd be tempting to just be like, pass in the email and then just say, full name. Like in theory, you could do this, and the risk could probably be fairly low. So then we could just generate the email completely within make.com. I'm always reluctant to pass personally identifiable information between systems, just from a security standpoint. That being said, depending on how long the logs are stored in here, it's probably low risk. It's probably low risk. Hey, thanks everyone for jumping on the live. We're just tinkering with the system here. If you're just joining us right now, we're thinking about how do we set up a system. This was a request that came in from somebody who contacted me this week. We start with the concept of we want to generate a coupon code for a customer. We want to store that code somewhere and then generate and send a QR code to that customer that sort of has that information contained within it. So how do we capture that information in the QR code and send it out? Sending it out isn't really, the important part, but the QR code itself, this is the part that we were trying to solve before. When the customer scans the code, say with their phone, right? How do we trigger another scenario and link it back to that customer? That's what we're trying to sort out how to do. And I thought, that's a cool use case. Let's check that out. Let's see if we can figure that out. So the linking back part is actually pretty easy. And I might actually do one more thing. I'm going to add one more item, and I'm going to say customer ID. Now, if we just stored the QR, see, that's another thing. We could send it as an attachment. From this contact, I think, do we have like an identifier? Yeah, there's the ID right there. So this is going to be the trick. Even without the email and the name in here, if we wanted to somehow link the QR code back up into the CRM and let the CRM send the email, we're either going to use the email or we're going to use the contact ID to link things back together. I think this is probably the right way to do it. The email will be the ID will be reliable, be the reliable part. True Reviews says, could they not just download the QR code to their phone or device? This is something that we're sending dynamically. I think we're going to send out this QR code dynamically. It's going to be like a one-time use. So if they scan it once, it's done. So I don't think, I mean, maybe it could be the case where this is something that was on like a restaurant. Maybe you were sitting at the restaurant, you saw a QR code, you scanned it, and you signed up for something. You could do it that way. That's another scenario. That's not 100% aligned with what we're doing today, but there's some parts that are going to be the same. Let's just pretend that this is okay. Save action. Save that. Either way, I think you're still going to end up with the same piece here, where when you scan the code, this part would be the same. You scan the code, and then you need to trigger the scenario. That's the part that we're sort of figuring out how to do today. There are a few different moving pieces, so again, there's a few different ways that we could approach this, but let's just keep going and put the pieces together. So we have one scenario here. This one here, this is sort of like going to generate. We're actually missing a couple pieces, so let me just move back over here. We're triggering the QR code. We're going to generate the QR code. And then from here, we're going to send it to the customer. We haven't decided necessarily what's the best way to do that just yet, but we'll just pretend that this is okay. I think I would prefer that the email went from the CRM, but for now, we'll send it from make.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable this, this scenario. So this automation that we've created really quickly in the HighLevel platform is now active. If we go in and we add a coupon code value to that contact, it's going to trigger this scenario. So let's test that out right now. I'm just going to unlink this because I don't want to I don't want to do anything yet, but I want to make sure that the data is coming in properly. So this address is still listening. It's waiting to determine what that data structure is going to look like. We'll save the scenario. It's published. We're going to go to our John Travolta contact, and we're going to add a coupon code to that customer. So we'll go in here to contacts. We'll go into John Travolta, bump that up a bit. And if we go way down here on the side somewhere, we should see coupon code. So what we'll do is we'll say our coupon code is going to be A1, B2, C3. And then I'll click save. That should trigger our workflow. Let's go have a look. Yes, successfully determined. So that works. So our first little bit works. We created a code in our CRM. The code's been stored. That triggered a scenario in make.com. So now we're at the generate QR code part. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that. That'll probably also, actually, you know what? I want to test that out. Our scenario probably just broke this a couple times. A1, B2, C3, because make.com's not listening. But I want to test something out. So because this coupon code generator, yeah, it's been run 3 times. That's fine. I want to run this. Okay. Redetermine data structure will make it listen again. And I want to go back to that contact, John Travolta. And if I delete the coupon code, it'll probably trigger that again. And we don't want that. So let's go add a, yeah, that did. So let's go fix that. So Nick says, I think once it's scanned, it should open a web page and send data back to disable the code. That's exactly what we're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to try and accomplish here today. True reviews. I mean, the details on your QR code. When it's scanned, can it not just be saved to their phone? The QR code, so when they scan the code, we want to make a change within the CRM system to determine whether or not the code has been used up or not. It's going to be a single-use code. And so there's probably more sophisticated ways we could do this, but we're just going to tie the 2 pieces together, the make.com and the CRM, and see if we can just get all the way through that process. Generate the code, send it off, scan the code, and have that updated value. True reviews, like copied their clipboard. Not familiar with this type of work, but I'm interested. Yeah, just stick around. Cam, the video will be on YouTube. They all go onto my YouTube account. Cloudcraft is my company. I am incorporated as Cloudcraft Software Inc. in Canada. So we need to go back and make an adjustment in here. We're going to put a condition. I think we can just go if. And the condition is going to be, let's see, contact details. Let me see, is it in here somewhere? Custom fields, coupon code is not empty. I think that's all we need. So we'll call this filter out empty code, save action, and that's probably fine. So how this works now is we've put a couple of branches in there. We have a trigger that when we add the coupon code to the customer, it's going to trigger this workflow. So that's fine. And then we have this condition here where we want to filter out. If the coupon code is empty, we want to filter it out. If there's no coupon code, we don't want to do nothing. We don't want to trigger this. We only want this to run when there is a coupon code value. So that's what this branch does. So we've got two sides. Coupon code is not empty, in which case we'll trigger that webhook and make.com. And the other side we don't care about. We can just safely ignore that. Doesn't need to do anything. Just a simple condition, or if we call that if statement sometimes. Very simple condition. We'll just save that. So this workflow is still active, so it will only do something if we add a coupon code to a user. All right, so coming back to our make.com scenario, what we'll do is we'll just move these out of the way for a second. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll reconnect this. And I want to see, we've got my free, the free code generator here. We're just going to try this out. I have no idea what this is going to look like because I've never used it before. We're finding out together on the live. So let's generate a coupon code. So the first, if we go back, what variables do we have here? General variables. Let's run this again. I think we need to redetermine our data structure. Unlink. Open that up. Redetermine data structure. Let's run it again. I think that's one of the things I forgot to do was to make sure the data was being passed in properly. So go back to John Travolta. We'll add that coupon code one more time. Here we are, coupon code A1, whoops, B2C3, save. That should, there we go. So that struct that's been successfully determined. So now when we link these together, I think, I don't want AI, I want to see the function, the variables. Where are my variables? For some reason, I'm not seeing the variables that came in on the first. What am I missing here? Do I need to determine that in the webhook structure? I suppose it's entirely possible. Let's go look at that execution. I'm missing something obvious. Yeah, you and me both. We're both struggling with webhooks right now. Let's go look at our execution logs. And John Travolta was enrolled. Webhook was executed. It's not going to give me a branch. Add workflow, the branch, the webhook was executed. I don't know if there's actual logs of the webhook details. Let me think about this. I'm missing a piece of some kind here. I think what we might want to do, let's do this. Unlink this. Usually when you trigger a webhook like that, it should automatically allow us to see what values came in. So again, if we use like set variable, yeah, see there it is right there. Coupon code, email, full name, customer ID. So that's interesting. Well, you know what I'm going to do just to make this explicit? I'm going to set multiple variables at the same time and we'll just extract those. We'll just say the coupon code is this. The variable variable is going to be that. This item, we're going to say the email. I feel like I shouldn't have to do this, but that's fine. We'll be explicit about it. There's nothing wrong with being explicit. Full name, that's going to be that third one. And then one more, customer ID. We're going to encode all of these values in our QR code because we need to pass them through. Now you can see, now I click in there and all of those values show up. They didn't the first time, but now they do. So little interesting, annoying bits. All right, so there's a few bits here that we need. In order to encode this QR code, first of all, we need the URL, because when we scan this code, we want it to come back to another scenario. So let's check this out. Give me 1 second. I'll get back into, let me just save this. I know it's not complete. I don't want to lose my work. That's fine. Save anyway. We'll just quickly create a brand new scenario right there. This is going to be our QR code handler. So there's two sides to this. If you recall, we've got two sides to this setup. We create the coupon code and store it in the CRM. The storing of the code is going to generate that. Somehow we're going to send it to the customer. So we've got one scenario over here, generate the QR code. Then when that code is scanned, okay, then we need to trigger the second scenario. That's going to check if the code is valid. If we can get that far today, we're in a great spot. We've sufficiently wired enough pieces together. So we're going to create a second webhook, custom webhook. We're going to call this one QR code scan handler. Not worry about those right now. Copy that address. This address we're going to encode into the QR code itself. So that's going to be the start. I'm going to paste that in. If you watched the video in my profile recently, I talked about QR codes and putting these bits together. So in order to make this work, when we want the QR code to be the URL of our webhook, this is we're going to utilize a feature of your phone, okay, that lets you scan this, and if it recognizes that it's a URL, what's going to happen is it'll open in the browser. But in order to pass this data in now, we want to add a question mark, because that question mark right there is going to separate the URL from the data we want to pass in, just like we did in our workflow over here. In that webhook, back in the CRM, okay, here we got to specify the query string parameters individually, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we didn't manually set up the URL. The system did it for us. But in this particular case, in make.com on this side, we're going to manually reconstruct that for the second scenario. And we tell the browser that these are query string parameters by adding that question mark to start. This is the start of the query string. And now we can't just pass them in like this. We have to also give them key value pairs. So we want to say coupon code equals, and then that's the value. And that ampersand is going to separate them. So then the next one will say email equals, and we'll pass that one in. And that'll separate the next one. Full name equals that. And, well, actually, we don't need to pass the full name, and I don't even think we don't even need to pass the email. We only need the full name and the email to actually send those out. I think for this, we only need to go coupon code equals that and customer ID equals and the customer ID. That should be good enough. There's some other options here in terms of coupon code parameters, or sorry, QR code parameters that I've never used before. So let's run this. if we run this once, that webhook is going to listen for a minute. And actually, you know what? Let me stop that. Let's just tie in the email just for fun. Why not? I don't want to save the message. And then the email can just be this one, the email address of the customer. That should go to my inbox. And it can be say, hey, see, it did it again. This seems like a bug. This seems like a bug in make.com. All those variables disappeared. They were there a second ago. Can I do this? Full name? No, that doesn't work. Do I do 5 dot full name? Nope. Some kind of bug in the interface of make.com here. Let's just close it, hit OK. Jump back in. Try it again. There it is. Okay, so hey, full name. Your coupon. And then for the content, we'll just say, I don't even know what that's going to look like yet. Your coupon code, or let's say your coupon is attached. Whoops, if I could type. Have a great day. Obviously, this is not what this is going to look like. And then I think with an attachment, this is just going to let me select the QR code or the file from the previous module. So let's try this out. I don't know if it's going to work. We'll find out in a minute. Just catching up on my comments here. M3HD says, what's this for? Quick recap of what we're trying to do. Again, we're sort of a contrived scenario, but we're working through it. The idea is that we have a coupon code that we're generating for a customer in our CRM. We're just making it up. We're storing that coupon code in our CRM. The act of storing that code is going to trigger a scenario in make.com, which is going to generate the QR code. And then we're going to send that off to the customer. And then I don't think in this case, I don't think the customer would scan the code. They would bring it in to the store and we'll scan the code. We'll scan the code and then it will check and see if that's valid or not. So there's two scenarios here. One scenario that generates the code, and then we have another scenario that checks if the code is valid. You could go a number of different ways with this if you wanted to change the logic a bit. But basically the goal of what we're trying to do here is just connect the two systems together. We've got our CRM. In our case, we're using HighLevel, GoHighLevel, and make.com, so we can go back and forth. Brad asks, what's the benefit of this using SNS? SNS is going to be more developer specific. So if you're a programmer, a developer, and you work in Amazon Web Services, that makes sense. Go ahead and use it. But that's not our focus. The purpose of this is for folks who are using low-code, no-code tools and want to build out some more real-world situations. People who don't maybe have a technical background and are wanting to get into automation and sort of up their skills or up their game a little bit. You have to keep in mind when you're building stuff on the developer side, if you're building your own stuff, if you're building your own tools from code from scratch, you also own the maintenance of those for the most part. And so if you're just prototyping or you got a simple workflow or something like that, low-code tools work really great. Ezekiel, do you work with businesses or just teach? I absolutely work with businesses. If you got some scenarios you'd like to talk through, just feel free to reach out. All right, so we're just going to try and generate our QR code right now. I think I'm going to hold off on sending the email. Having second thoughts. Pretty sure it'll work, but we don't know. Oh, wait a minute. No, it did. Yeah, no, it gave us the file. Let's do that. Let me save this. Let's run this scenario once. And if we go back to our CRM, to our contacts, John Travolta, we're going to give John Travolta a QR code. Oh, we'll delete that one. Again, we put the branch in there, so deleting the code does nothing. But we'll put a brand new code in here and we'll say A1, B2, C3. I'm adding this coupon code to this user. That should trigger our scenario, generate the code. and send an email. I see on my phone, I just says, hey, John Travolta, your coupon. Let's go check that out. Give me 1 second. Get my email over here. Let's check this out. Got that on a totally different monitor. All right. Look at that. So that's what our coupon code looks like. Now we can scan that. And that you know, it's not going to do anything because our other, well, I guess our other one is. Let me pull that up again. I'd ask you to scan it, but you're on your phone. So what I'll do is I'll scan it on my phone. I don't have that set up to show you. I'll do that though in a minute. I'll set that up in a minute so that we can, actually, you know what, I'll do it right now so we can both watch this together. Is everybody okay on the live? Just to, if you bear with me for 2 minutes, I'll just get my phone connected so we can scan through this together. 1 sec. I just got a mess here. My desk is a mess. Life of a live streamer. All right, I need to add a video source. 1 second. Video capture. Call this my phone. And device is going to be, no, it's not that. It's not a video capture device. What is it going to be? Hey, OBS users, help me out here. Is it a screen capture? No, I thought it was a video capture. But my phone's not showing up for some reason. Oh, I see. I think I have to plug it in differently. 1 second. We're figuring this out together. This is not scripted. This is 100% on the fly, Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. Saturday morning, maybe in some places. All right, so that plugged in. Let's try that again. There's my phone. And if we go into my camera, there it is right there. All right. So now we'll scan this together. So we can see here now that when I scan this code, we can see the yellow box. I'm on an iPhone, but the yellow box comes up. So we get this for free, right? I'm pretty sure Android does the same thing. So if I click on that now, remember, if we go back, let me just shut that off for a second. If we go back and have a look at our second scenario is still listening. This is the QR code handler. Okay. Turn my iPhone back on for a sec. So we go back and scan that QR code. And I click on that. It's going to open in the browser and just say accepted in the top corner. And if I go back to that other scenario now and have a quick look at that, we can see that that has been accepted. Now let's go see if the data got passed through, because that's what we want to know. We'll just go set variable. I use set variable just as a cheat. So there we can see the two values that came in on that coupon code. So our coupon code has done what it is supposed to do. It's passed in the actual code, and then it's passed in the customer ID. So this is really cool. We can do a couple of things now. We can do a couple things with this. I'm going to set multiple variables here again. Normally you wouldn't have to do this, but make is being weird. So we're going to, we'll just go set multiple variables. And we'll add the first item. The first item is going to be coupon code. And we're going to grab that. We shouldn't have to do this, but we're going to do it anyway. Second one is customer ID. Same thing. Hit OK. Now we are at this stage. We've just triggered this scenario now, the second make.com scenario. So now what we want to do is we want to check and see if the coupon code is valid, right? We need to reach back into the CRM with the customer ID. Can we determine if the code is valid or not? Now, I have an idea how we're going to do this. I don't 100% know, but we'll figure it out. we'll just walk through and see what we can do. So the first thing I want to do, I guess there's two ways we could do this. We could set up an automation within the CRM that we could call manually. That'd be one way to do it. But that wouldn't be authenticated. We could just set up, let's talk about the bad way. Let's talk about the wrong way to do this. It would be easy to create a workflow just called check customer coupon code. And you could just add a webhook handler here if you wanted. That would be the inbound webhook. We could just listen on this webhook, and then based on the data that came in, we could get the customer and retrieve some details or something like that. That's probably the wrong way to do this. So I'm just going to get rid of that. I think what we can do is I think we can get the customer. So we'll use the lead connector. Let's see, lead connector. This is the thing, search contacts, update a contact. Probably search contacts is what we need to do. Let me just reconnect to connection type. OAuth 2 is fine. This is going to be, what are we using? Eclipse. That's fine. I'll just connect. I am logged in. Pull that over here. Not sure what this is going to ask me for, so. All right, that seems, bear with me while I get this sorted out. Cancel that. Add new connection. There we go. And the one I want, just need to connect this to the right. Verifying connection. Perfect. Name, phone, email, tags, company name. I wonder if it'll let me I had assumed that it would let me pass in the customer ID here, but it says name, phone, email, tags, company name. So we might actually have to back up a little tiny bit and pass in the email. Oh, I got some comments. Let me get caught up here. Vankerboy says, what automation is this? So we'll just recap real quick what we're doing. We're trying to set up a QR code in, we've set up a QR code in our, we've set up a coupon code in our CRM. And that action is triggering the generation of a QR code that we are then emailing to our customer, and they can bring it in. And once we scan it, now we're in another scenario where we want to check and see if the QR code is valid or not. And all of this is hypothetical. We're just doing this to try and wire the pieces together. Enrico says, what's your background in IT? So I've been in software development for about 25 years. Short version of that story is mostly just like building out sites and apps, web apps and stuff in the early aughts. And then I got into cloud stuff in the 10s. And cloud security, automation on the software side. I guess, we could say DevOps maybe. And then also I studied business and IT strategy. So, yeah, sorry I didn't get to your questions there. I have the comments sort of on another screen, and I have to manage all of that. But I will get to your comments. So we're generating a code. A coupon code, then we use that to make a QR code. We send that to the customer. They get an email, and then they bring it to us, and we scan it. And now that we've scanned it, we need to tie that back to the CRM and see if the coupon code is valid. Once the QR code gets scanned, we need to check if the coupon code is valid. And I've just run into a hitch here. I assumed, see, we passed in Originally, I passed in the actual coupon code and then the customer ID because I want to reach back into the CRM, grab the customer, and then I'm assuming once I do that, I'll be able to access that custom field. We'll find out in a minute. It might not let me. We might need to go a different route here. But I had assumed that I could query the customer based on the ID. And I'm not 100% certain that it's going to let me do that. Let me just add that module. Maybe there's something in the search contacts. Oh, get a contact. Let's try that one. Let's see if it will. There we go. Contact ID. So I knew I'd seen that before. So let's run this. Okay. Save my scenario. Once I'm going to rename it. This is our QR code handler. Save that. I'm going to run once and this will let us debug it. So I'll just flip back over to my phone and we'll scan this code together. 1 second, bring up my camera. Together. So again, I bring up my phone and we can see bring up my camera. It brings up this little yellow bit on the together. So again, I bring up my phone and we can second bring up my camera. It brings up this little yellow bit on together. So again, I bring up my phone and we can second bring up my camera. It brings up this little yellow bit on together. So again, I bring up my phone and we can set that off. We jump back over to our scenario and there was a problem getting the contact. Oh, I see. I need to set up a new token with access to that location. That's interesting. Which location did I... 1 second. 1 second. I think I authorized the wrong one. Oh, let's do this. Close that. There's always a little bit of tinkering involved in getting some of this stuff set up. And we're just doing this on the fly. Oh, I see. I grabbed the wrong one. So it's not actually that one. It's the... oh, goodness. It's going to be one of these ones... let's try that one. I don't know. They're all named the same thing. We'll just keep scanning this until one of them works. We're going to find out in a minute. So let's try that one. I should go back in and rename those. I won't share my phone this time. I'll just scan the code and we'll see how far we get with it. Let's try that again. Scanning it now. If we jump back over, there, that one worked. So we got lucky. We had a 33% chance. And we won the OAuth connection lottery there. We got a bingo. So that should have retrieved a contact. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, custom fields, and I can see it down at the bottom here. Our user is John Travolta. And custom fields, boom, coupon code. So we have what we need now. We have what we need. We're going to do a couple more things here before we wrap this up. We have the ability, we've scanned that second scenario here. After we scan the QR code, it triggers that second scenario. Now we're at this spot where we need to check and see if the QR code is valid. And then we can do a couple cool things from here. I didn't set up any... Oh, there was a cool service that I found the other day. It'd be kind of fun to... we'll do this together. Give me 1 second. There's a service I found the other day that will allow us to host a web page. Oh, we could do it in HighLevel too. That would be easy. Actually, yeah, we'll do that because we can do it in HighLevel. Yeah. I'm making this up on the fly. We're figuring this out together. Unscripted. We just had an idea. By the way, I will say, if you're thinking about getting into, if you're, aspiring automation engineer, if you're getting into this kind of stuff, I'm firing up a community. It is a paid community. It's a fairly low ticket. For the purpose of if this is your day job or you're thinking about getting into this and you want to one-up your automations, that could be helpful to you. And one of the things that we want to do is every week we're going to take a community problem, just like this one. This was somebody reached out to me on TikTok and said, how do I solve this? Every week we're going to take a community problem just like this. And we're going to tie into it and see if we can walk through the pieces and figure out if we can make it work or not. So if that's of interest to you. If not, don't worry about it. It'll be a fairly small community, and I'll be tied in there every day so I can help answer some of those questions. All right, so we've got the coupon code back from the CRM, so that's great. Now what we want to do is we're going to create two different branches. So we need a router. Actually, what we want to do, we want one thing before that. We need to do an evaluation. Ken, if you're interested, the link's in my bio. It's in there. You can go check it out, or you can message me if you have any questions. It's in my my link tree. So now we need to evaluate. We're at the spot right now. We need to evaluate if the QR code is valid. We've already retrieved it from the CRM. We need to come up with this yes or no. Yes or no, is the code valid? So we've got two codes here. One code came in when the QR code was scanned. That's right here. And then the code we're comparing it to is in the custom field from our CRM. That's here. So one from the QR code, one from the CRM. If they're the same, then, and you know what? I've never done this in make.com before, so we're going to figure this out right now. We're going to say set variable. Variable name is going to be called codes match. It's going to be a true or false. I'm just assuming we can do this. We're going to use a function. Can we evaluate? Oh, you know what I want to do? I'm going to ask the AI. I got 98 credits left. I've got two different values, two different string values in my scenario, and I need to evaluate them to a true or false if they are the same, e.g. a comparison. Because I've never done a comparison, and I don't think so anyway. There's got to be a simple way to do this. So it's saying we can just do, I didn't even know this, use set variables, which we had in mind, and then configure the module, create a new variable, use the formula. So we can just do an equals operation, which is great. That just makes this super simple. I didn't even know you could do that in Make. So there you go. So now we can say codes match is going to be, so the coupon code that came in at the beginning, then we're going to use equals equals for comparison. And then we're going to go in here to custom fields. Where is it at? Custom fields, coupon code. So that's our formula right there. This is how we're going to do the comparison. Codes match. So we're going to create a variable called codes match. And if the codes are the same, it will be true. And if the codes are different, it will be false. And what's cool about this is, whoops, I zoomed in on my browser and I broke it. Let me open that up again. There we go. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to create let me fix that. Now we can create our route. We'll use a router. The flow control. And we got two scenarios. Now what we want is, if the codes match, we're going to do one branch on the top. We're going to go here. But if the codes don't match, we're going to go on another branch here. So let's set up a filter. We're going to say coupon codes matched. The condition is that our codes match. What do we have? Lots of options here. Boolean operators. I'm just going to try with the equal to. We'll just try that. True. So if it's true, it should go here. Otherwise, it should go here. Let's just add a... this is where it's going to be interesting, because we're going to redirect to a page in a minute. But I'm just going to use set variable. I use set variable to debug stuff. So we'll just call this one, it was true. And the variable is going to be our codes match. And then I'm just going to do the same thing here, because I just want to see that it's true or false. Didn't match. We're not going to keep these variables. All right. Save the scenario. I'm going to run this once. And now we'll scan that code again. Let me just pull it up real quick. Scan that QR code. There, I scanned, says accepted. Get back to my scenario. It says didn't match, and I kind of wondered because I think it's a Boolean. We might need a Boolean in there. So let's just go see what happened. Oh, you know what? I did something wrong. Do I need to, let me go read that again. It says they're variables. So do I need the actual curly braces around the variables? Maybe I do. I didn't. We'll try this. Let's try it again. Maybe you need the curly braces specifically for the formula evaluation. Yeah, interesting. I see there's a few comments. I'll get to your comments in just a second. We're going to try this. We're just trying to get to the spot where we can demo this out, okay? So I'm going to scan this QR code one more time. Let me get my scenario running. All right, so that webhook is listening. I'll scan this QR code one more time. Let me get back here. We're just about to the cool spot. This is pretty cool so far. All right, scanned. This time it says false again. We're just trying to figure out how to set these variables because that part I don't quite know how to do. Or not set the variable, but do the evaluation. Yeah, see, that didn't work at all. Now it just ended up looking like, all right. I've never done an evaluation like this. Do I need to set a formula? Is there an advanced setting? One cycle, lifetime, one execution. Let me go back and read this one more time because I'm doing something wrong on the variable setting side of things. Let's read this one more time. To compare two string values in your scenario and evaluate them to true or false, you can use the set variables module. You know what would be hilarious? This would be hilarious if this was a complete hallucination. I'm assuming it's not. But it could be pretty funny if it was. Because, you know, that happens. It's saying in the module, create a new variable and set a formula to compare the two string values. Oh, maybe formula is it's saying use the set variables module and that the formula can be used. I'm just going to Google this really quick. So set formula, set variables module make.com. Using functions. See, I assumed we would use a function. Let's do it this way. String comparison Boolean make.com. Basic operations clarification. I do spend time, so contains. Well, we could do that. That would actually work. Let's test that out really quick. It's not the way I would. Oh, see, no, that's an array operator. I don't want array operators. I want a function. Let me just double check the functions again really quick. If you're on the, it might be a good time to jump into some of our comments here too. So let's see. Jay says, yes, AI as a tool is really good. Love this. Following. Awesome. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. Everybody who sent the roses, thank you. I appreciate it. Miguel says, this is great. Awesome. Spartan. Others online don't show you like he is. I won't criticize anybody else in what they're doing. I think there's part of my background's in software engineering, and I see the technology gap. I see a lot of people that want to be using technology, including businesses. And so this is my whole business model from my side. Cloudcraft Software, that's my company, is I work with organizations to evaluate the technology gap because there's lots of times staff members don't understand some of these technology pieces. And there's never been a time like today to utilize the tools that are out there to compete in a big way or to start new businesses or create new value. There's a lot out there, but there's this huge technology gap in terms of, you know, people are still using spreadsheets and email, and there's just so much more out there. So I try to teach because naturally that builds good relationships with people. I've benefited from the teaching and the patience of so many people who have helped me in my career, and I think it's important to pass that on. So if you're finding value in this, I love it. That's absolutely why we're here. We're looking for a function in make.com that's going to let us compare two strings. I thought this would have been super easy. So these are our text functions. Replace, trim upper string. These are all, in another video, we'll go over these and what these do. But literally, I'm just looking to compare two string values. And I would have thought, oh, maybe I can just use, let's try this, operators. Do I need to go, let's try this. Let's try, maybe we just can't use a, we might have to use literal operators like this. Maybe that's the problem. We're learning this together right now on the fly. This is live on Friday afternoon. This is not pre-scripted. We're just figuring it out. Okay, let's run this one more time. It's saying there's an issue. It's complaining about invalid IML for parameter. Do I need a space in there? What do I need? Let me try this again. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Not silly at all. Jeremy asks, might be a silly question, but how do you stream picture-in-picture on TikTok? So Restream, I'm using Restream.io, which is free up to, I think you can connect with 2 or 3 target platforms. I'm only using one. I'm only using TikTok right now. It was only very recently, like in the last couple of weeks, that they used to have the ability to do TikTok, and then TikTok changed all their stuff with the way they do stream keys and like TikTok Live Studio and all that kind of stuff. And now Restream now again has the ability to do that. So I'm going from OBS directly to Restream, and then you're getting it from there, which does introduce, you know, like a few second delay or whatever, but it seems to work. Every once in a while, we end up fighting a little bit with the tools. And so, again, we're learning this together. We'll try this one more time. Coupon code. Okay. It has an issue with that, and it's saying that invalid IML. The AI didn't help us in this space at all. If we were using JavaScript or something, this would be super easy to do. Do I need to put those around there? I don't think I do, because they're kind of baked into the variables under the hood, right? And we'll just keep fiddling with this for a minute until we figure it out. Operators are here, equals. And we'll try the other one. I don't think this is going to work. We might have to go back to Google. If anybody knows how this works, let me know. We're just figuring this out on the fly. We just need to figure out how to compare two string values. Again, this is like the most basic, simplest thing. Nope, doesn't like that either. It's creating a bunch of weird under the hood syntax. Hey, Colleen. Yeah, let's try that in a second. Let's do a recap for anybody new coming in. What we're trying to do. So we're like 3/4 the way through this. We've got a scenario where we're using a CRM. In my case, I'm using HighLevel right now. We've generated the coupon code, and we're just adding it to a customer in the CRM. That triggers a scenario that builds out a QR code and emails our customer. Then the customer is going to bring it into the store. We're going to scan that QR code, and right now we're at this spot right here where we're trying to check if the code is valid. That's where we're at right now. And so we've retrieved all the bits. Literally, all of the parts we thought were going to be hard were easy. And the easiest part, which is just comparing two string values, is the hardest thing to do in make.com. I don't know why. So let's see if will work for us. I think that's a great suggestion. So what's going to be, what is the, if I say if, yeah, we can do that. 1 = 1, A and B. Let's do that. That's such a great suggestion. 100%. Miguel's the hero here. I think that's going to work. Let's try it out. So we'll grab our if coupon code, and then we need our equals operator. This is so clunky in make.com. It's almost comical. If this were JavaScript or Python or something else, we'd have been done 10 minutes ago. Then we'll say, so if those are the same, we're going to say true, else, false. This is what we want. Okay. We're in a good spot. Tech Mario, I will answer your question in 2 seconds. We're fighting. We're fighting for our lives here. So I'll come back and do a real quick review in a minute. I'm just going to scan this QR code. I need everybody on the live right now to cross your fingers. All right, all 20 of you. Let me just scan this really quick one more time. All right, I will share the scanning of that next time well, as soon as this works, scan that code. Come on. Scan the code. My camera's misbehaving. Let me reopen that. There we go. All right. Oh, and it hit both scenarios. Oh, because I don't have a filter on that other one. Let's go check that though. So the fact that we got the value here, that's good. So it was true is true. So we need to put a filter on this one. This is cool, actually, because now we get to build out the web pages. I'm going to set up a filter here. We're going to say codes did not match. And the condition is that codes match is equal to false. So now we've got two different scenarios. I don't care about these set variables here. Tech Mario, just to catch you up on the live here, what we're doing is we're creating a QR code in our CRM. And once that's created, then it triggers one scenario that generates the QR code and emails it to our customer. They're going to bring that QR code to us. We're going to scan it. And that triggers another scenario where we check if the code is valid. If it's yes, we're going to redirect them to one place. And if it's no, we're going to redirect to another place. This is just a basic scenario. We're prototyping this together. Obviously, in a real world scenario, it's going to be a little bit more complex than this. But yeah, let me show that again, how we compared the strings. It was actually Miguel that made the recommendation to use a if statement, and it worked fantastically. Worked splendidly. So it looks like this. The logic in there, if coupon code equals the other coupon code, evaluate to true, otherwise evaluate to false. It worked swimmingly, I'll say. All right, so that's good. We'll save this. So now let's build out the last bit. I'm going to go back over to HighLevel because HighLevel is kind of cool. It's a little clunky. There's some spots that are kind of clunky. We're just going to set up a new, let's just build a real basic blank website. I really only want 2 pages. This is going to be our QR code handler pages. And we're just going to have 2 pages. We could literally do anything from here. But we've largely accomplished what we set out to do. So I'm going to add 1 new page. We're going to call this QR code success. Whoops, success. And the path will just be success. I don't need and this is just going to be really, really basic. Just going to create a blank page. The only thing I need here is some URL. So I'll just use like the pre-built section. And we'll just drag one of those in. Did that work? I might have to make this smaller. Oh yeah, see. Hold on. Because of the limitations of the browser in this demo, we'll drag that in. And then I don't even care about any of this. All I'm going to do is say, this is going to be success. we'll say QR code valid. Okay, that's it. And then from here, we could do anything. So I'll save and publish that. Probably going to ask me for a domain. Do I have one? I don't. Which is annoying. Let me see here. Can I connect a domain really quickly? I don't have one registered on this. We might have to, let me think about this. What's going to be the fastest way to do this? Because I don't have, well, what we can do is we can use this preview URL. Let me just check that I can access that unauthenticated. I can. That's good enough. We'll pretend this is our domain. We're making this up as we go. So what we're going to do here, the QR code was successful because this came in on a webhook. Right now, when I scan that QR code and it hits the webhook, I just see accepted. That just make.com is giving me a response that says, yeah, you're good to go. but I actually want to send the user somewhere else. So I'm going to do a response, a 302. Wait, is that permanent or temporary? I can never remember. One of them, it's called a redirect. It's going to instruct the browser, and I'll show you in a second how this works. So just bear with me. We don't need a body, but what we do need is some headers, okay? We're going to say location, and I'm going to put in the value. What that's going to do, and I'll show you this in a second, the response should redirect our browser on my phone to that place. I'll show you that in a second. It'll be hilarious if it just completely doesn't work, but it should. QR code invalid page. We'll say invalid as the path, create new page. All right, create from blank. And here what we'll say is, again, we'll use pre-built. I'll use the same one. But this time what we'll say is, womp womp, QR code already used. Save that. And we'll grab that preview URL. Again, we would assume these were like kind of published or something. We're just kind of faking it right now. Preview link. And now this one should be able to send back a different webhook response. Again, I'm going to use a 302. I think, let's check that out. 301 versus 302. I can never remember which one is the permanent. 301 is permanent, 302 is temporary. Yeah, so 302 is the one that we want. 302 is the code that says this page has temporarily moved. So now we've got a scenario. I'll just save this, clean it up a tiny bit. Now we've got a scenario that looks like this. When that code is scanned, we retrieve the value from our CRM. We do a quick evaluation to say, hey, is the code good or bad? If the code is good, we're going to redirect to this spot. If the code is bad, we're going to redirect to the code's invalid. We'll probably want to add a step in here that if the code is good, we're going to go back and like remove it or change it or do something like that. But that's out of the scope of our live today. We've come a long way. Like we've already implemented basically this whole chart, and that's pretty fantastic. So show the success page and then show the already used page. Let's test this out because I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. So let me run this. We have the QR code in our, let me go to my contact here, John Travolta. We have another look at that. We see the QR code is in there. So I'll jump back over to my email. I'll share my phone with you again. We'll scan this together, and this will either go amazingly or it will be a horrible failure. All right, bring open my camera. I'll share that with you right now. We're gonna find out what happens together. So again, all right, bring open my camera. I'll share that with you right now. We're gonna find out what happens together. So here we go. So click on that. All right, bring open my camera. I'll share that with you right now. We're gonna find out what happens together. So here we go. So click on that. All right, bring open my camera. I'll share that with you right now. We're gonna find out what happens together. So here we go. So we'll test that other branch. So that's the first 302 did exactly what it was supposed to do. We'll go back. We'll run our scenario one more time. But first, I'm going to go in and remove the QR code. So it's not valid anymore. I mean, we'd probably handle this in a little bit more elegant way, or, maybe a little bit more sophisticated, but we're prototyping here. It's fine. All right, let's go back and scan that QR code one more time. It should no longer be valid. Let me share my phone again. Code one more time. It should no longer be valid. Now this time we should be able to scan it. Let me share my phone again. Code one more time. It should no longer be valid. Now this time we should be able to scan it. Set that up correctly. 1 second. Let me share my phone. Fix that. So close. So close. Somebody didn't have their fingers crossed. Because it's not that. It's not the body. We sent that back in the body. What it needs to be is a header. It needs to be a location header. That's a requirement of the 302 redirect. Okay. Save this. Run it again. All right, finger crossing should not be necessary now. It should work. Let me just get my camera up here. Necessary now. It should work.
Scan our QR
Let me just get my camera up here. Necessary now. It should work.
Scan our QR
Let me just get my camera up here.
QR code already used.
Necessary now. That's it. I mean, again, there's more we could do with this, right? But that was our goal today, was we wanted to implement 2 different scenarios where we set up a QR code. We email a QR code to the customer based on a value that we created in our CRM. And then when they scan the code, we'll put this up here. Let's clean up my diagram. When they scan the code, then we trigger a second scenario that will validate whether or not the code works or not. That was it. That's all we wanted to do. Yeah, just like that. So that's pretty good. This was a project that, this was a question that came to me last week or this week from one of my followers who'd been on a previous live. So I appreciate the question. If you are a budding or aspiring automation sort of, engineer, if you're getting into this kind of stuff, if my content is helpful to you and you do this for your day job or you're interested in getting into this, I've started a community. It is a subscription-based community. I intend to keep it fairly small, once a week. So I'll have the chance to look at everybody's questions that's in there and help answer some of those questions. And then once a week, we'll take a vote. We'll take a problem within the community. We'll vote on the problem, and then we'll do a live stream. We'll do a members-only live stream once a week. I'm still setting it up. I'm still navigating this and figuring it out. And if that interests you, just check my bio or feel free to reach out to me if you have questions about any of that. So let's see. Miguel, I'm sad I missed the first half. This was terrific. I put all of my videos on, my live will be on the YouTube. It'll be up either tonight or tomorrow, and then you can go back and check it out. Tech Mario says, can you show the last webhook? Do you mean the scenario? This one here? There were 2 scenarios specifically. The first one that generated the QR code, and then the second one that validated the QR code. So the first one looks like this. It was really straightforward. It received a change from our CRM, generated the QR code, and sent it via email to the customer. And then the second one was the handler for the QR code. There's probably systems out there that does this, and I'm sort of surprised that HighLevel doesn't have the ability to handle this, or at least generate QR codes dynamically, which would be fantastic. When they add that, this would be a power feature in that system is already full of quite a few cool features. So we'll just leave the stream up for maybe 10 minutes. If anybody has any questions, I got pretty much everything done I wanted to accomplish today. The last time we tried to do some prototyping, we didn't get anywhere. We're just talking about tools and stuff. But if anybody has any questions about what we looked at today, or maybe if you have an idea for our live stream, I will probably be on a live stream again tomorrow. We'll be looking at some different AI tools and automation stuff. We'll just find something interesting to work on. This QR code thing was fun. Yeah, Jeremy, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. I just recently crossed 5,000 subscribers, which is mind-blowing. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the follows. I appreciate that. I'm really glad you're finding value in the content. And my goal is to help those who are interested in not just automation, but bridging the tech gap. Because even something as simple as comparing 2 values to see if they match, that tripped us up for, a good 10, 15 minutes. There are so many things when it comes to not just automation, but just tech in general, where we try to put some pieces together and we just get stuck on something. That's kind of the goal of the community I've set up. Again, if it's your day job or it's something you're getting into, You can get a little bit of automation support on that side. But there's a large gap between sort of where we are in our businesses and day-to-day and sort of the tools that are available to us. Not to say that we have to use all of them, but if we can find the right tools that solve the problems within our business in a fairly elegant way, I'll say, then that can go a long way. Review and conclusion. So we started out with a coupon code that we created in our CRM. We just have a field in our CRM called coupon code. It's right here. And as soon as we add the code to that field in our CRM kicks off a webhook and a scenario in make.com that generates a QR code and emails it to our customer. We saw that right here. This is our QR code. That's our email. John Travolta was our customer today. And when we scan that QR code, that kicks off another scenario that validates that the code exists or doesn't exist. If the code exists, we show them a success page. And if the code doesn't exist, we show them a failure page. This was just a prototype, just to sort of wire the pieces together and see how far we could get with a basic automation that has real practical uses in the real world. Just to see if we could get all of those pieces working together. Hey, Miguel, I appreciate that. Miguel says the content is great. Make it easy to understand. I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate your feedback. That's 100% my goal. Any other last minute questions? Questions about tools? Anything at all? We'll just hang on the live for maybe just a couple more minutes. Cassius says, this is awesome. How could it be used in real life? What other products or routes would companies take to make this process without AI? That's the interesting thing. There's no AI in this process at all. This is 100% completely just automation. So the scenario or the use case for this particular automation would maybe be if we want to send a one-time use coupon to a customer specifically. So an example for that might be we have asked the customer to give us a good review. And if they give us a good review on our, say, Google reviews, we will send them a 10% off coupon for their next visit. And so they give us a good review. Again, that could be completely automated. The good review comes in and it automatically puts a random coupon code in this field, this coupon code field. And that would trigger the process of sending them a coupon. That would just automatically send them a coupon in an email that says, the next time you bring this in and we'll give you 10% off. So when they come in with their coupon code. They bring in their phone and they have the coupon code on their phone. And then so the staff scans the code and that verifies whether the code is good or not. And if it says, yep, code is good, then they get 10% off. That might be one. This is a really simple idea. I'm sure you could take it many different directions. You could have a QR code. I think the original question was if you had a QR code on a restaurant table for a discount on something. Say if you were you're contact farming or something, you want to gather a bunch of emails. Then you could have that process automated where they scan that code and it asks them for their contact information. And once they enter the contact information, then you generate a QR code and a coupon and you send it to them by email. It would be the same process. There'd probably be a few more bits in here. Like for instance, you wouldn't want just anyone to scan the codes. You might want to restrict that second scenario to a specific IP or have some other mechanism in place so not just anybody could scan it. Or what you could have is, if it's tied to a contact, when they scan the code and the page it brings you to is authenticated maybe. There's a few different ways you could go with that to sort of Again, this isn't like we haven't gone through the process of securing this necessarily. There's a few different ways we could go there. Hope that answers your question, Cassius. Tech Mario, how did you send the URL? The URL is encoded in the QR code. So if we look at that process, when we generate the QR code, we're using this tool, which we just found today. And if we look at that, if you look at QR code generators, and I just did a video on this, if you go back in my profile, the last couple of videos, but the way QR code generators work is they take any value that you put in the box and they turn that code into the value. Sorry, they turn that value into the code. Sorry, that was backwards. So in this particular case, if we go back to our generator, actually we'll look at that. The value that was being turned into a QR code is exactly this value here, the URL and some parameters. Latif says, I missed this, but too bad I missed the live. I will post the live on my YouTube afterwards. So go subscribe to my YouTube, or at least save the profile somewhere. And this will be up tonight or tomorrow. So this URL, this particular URL right here, is actually the trigger URL for the other scenario. And then we've encoded some data, coupon code, the value of the coupon code, and the customer ID here. And if we go and look at that, when that was triggered, right, we can see that's what came in. The coupon code and the customer ID both came in when that was triggered. So that's how we connected those things together. The actual entire URL is encoded into the QR code. So I'll show you that again. If we look at this QR code, I'll share my phone again. So you can put anything you want in a QR code. One second. I'll get to the scanner. You can put anything you want in a QR code, but if you put a URL in a QR code, let me just show you that again. I pull my phone away. You see that little yellow thing on the bottom? That at the bottom of the frame, when I scan the QR code with my camera on my phone, that little yellow sort of rounded button shows up at the bottom. This is built into, I'm using an iPhone, but Android should do this too. If I click on that, it recognizes, you can see it recognizes with the little compass. It's going to open this in Safari because the URL is encoded in the QR code. Right? And we can actually, let me shut my phone off. I hope that makes sense. I know that's a little bit confusing, but if I just copy this, I wonder if I can copy, I'll just take a screenshot. I take a screenshot of the QR code. Okay. So I got my screenshot, and I'll go another one. I'll just say decode QR code online. I don't know. We'll just pick one. QR code to text. No, I don't want to use my camera. I just want to drag and drop. Let's try this one. That one wants, can I just, a really simple one, please. Enter an image URL, choose file. Boy, they're making this hard. Here we go. Can we drag onto that one? Choose file. So now that's decoded to this. This is the data that's in there. You can put whatever you want in a QR code. But the question from the user the other day was, how do I connect the things together? And how you do that is through the URL, the use of the URL so that we can utilize the browser. That's what makes that work. Tech Mario says, yes, that makes sense. Perfect. Latif, what environment are you using? Primarily make.com, but I use lots of tools. Zapier sometimes. I've started using N8N a little bit. And for the CRM today, we're using GoHighLevel. Yeah, so just a couple more minutes before we shut down the live. I appreciate everybody who's come on today, all of the questions. Again, if automation engineering support is of interest to you, check out the link in my bio. I'm firing up a new community. It is a subscription. We're just going to keep it small. It's pretty low ticket, but you'll have access directly. So folks, so I can answer your questions. Hey, Joshua, good to see you. You're just, you're coming in a little late. Must be what, 4 in the morning? A little bit late. Not quite 4. That's okay. I'm going to post it to, I'll post it on YouTube, and I'll probably be live again tomorrow in the afternoon. I'll get a little bit earlier start tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll just do some tinkering with some AI tools. And, but yeah, today we just did a little scenario with QR code. We're going to wrap it up there. It's coming up to dinner time for me, so I'm going to jump off. Again, appreciate everybody coming on the live. And hope you enjoyed it. Definitely jump over and follow me on YouTube if you can. And I'll post the recap on there later on tonight. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to sign off for now. I hope you have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on where you are. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.